music though.
Go live while I'm finishing off a bit of Easter egg.
Oh, what? I don't have any Easter egg left. I may have eaten all my Easter eggs in a day.
I haven't quite got through all of mine yet.
You're a rookie, Dave.
Well, I got the bonus because Tam doesn't eat a lot of chocolate, so I got to eat hers.
Oh, nice.
One of the guys at work, he brings in because his kid's got too many Easter eggs. So he brings me to work, and I'm like, how does that work? How do you get too many Easter eggs?
You can never get too many Easter eggs.
That's what I reckon too. Good evening to everyone who's watching at the moment. We'll do it.
Quality Easter egg talk.
We'll,
Backseat Easter egg drivers.
Let's do the countdown and get into this properly.
Good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Emilia Romagna
Still not better.
review. I haven't been practicing. For those people who've been watching at home, I got myself at least one hat. It might be exciting. There might be more hats to come along. For those eagle-eye viewers, this way around you will notice that it is an out-of-date one. That's because I got a handful of them on special. A hell of a lot cheaper than the $80 or whatever they were charging for F1 hats at the Grand Prix. So,
I think they're $10 now on Swanson Street, Dave.
If you can find some of them, I'd be up for some of them.
True.
Yeah. So, enough about these exciting. I've left the sticker on as well, as you can see, because apparently that's cool with the kids.
It's what all the kids are doing, Dave.
I'm not sure if whatever that says is supposed to be left on, though. I'm not sure if it was one of those cool ones, but I did notice it after sitting down and everything. So we'll worry about that later. But anyway, okay, there was a Grand Prix on the weekend, and that's what we're mainly here to talk about. So where do you want to start?
I'd like to start by, Dave, just reminding everyone last week of my F1 Super Picks. I remember saying that Red Bull wouldn't finish and Ferrari would romp to the end. That's just to let everyone know the level of intelligence I have when it comes to F1. Essentially do the opposite of I say.
Yeah, I think I'd actually predicted a Ferrari kind of walk over there as well. But, it didn't quite end up that way. But
no, it was...
We'll get into that. Do we start with qualifying, or do you want to get straight into the big incident to talk about?
Straight into the I think the first main incident everyone's talking about. Dan sliding off the track.
What do we reckon? Whose fault's this one?
At the start, Sainz was like spinning around a bit, and it looked like it was a very wet track. I think that there was, I think what they were saying as well, it was just a race incident. I don't think there was any.
Oh, it was definitely racing in this incident, but let's lay blame on someone because that's more fun.
Well, supposedly it was Sainz's line, and Ricciardo should have taken.
The way I look at it, and obviously I'm an unbiased Australian, so
obviously.
Definitely, I'm not going to side with Ricciardo at all. And
Same here.
Red Bull shirts and things like that. The way I looked at it, that Carlos probably should have given him a bit more room coming into the corner. And because he'd kind of squeezed him a little bit towards the apex, that's ultimately why Dan hit the curb and ran out wide. Which
Well, he
then
thought he was pushed at first.
yeah, which the way it was funny how like even then the Leclerc incident later on in the race, how once they got the car up on the curb, it was just
It went everywhere.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I assume that's probably more to do with the wet conditions than the new cars. But it'd be interesting to see because Imola's a little bit more old school with higher curbs there than what we've probably seen with the other circuits so far this year. Because Melbourne's had a revamp, so the curbs were a lot thinner, I think, at Melbourne than what they had previously been as well. So you didn't get that kind of beaching once you got up on the curb.
I think they were saying that the wet played a fair part in. There was a lot of Tokyo drifting with those Ferrari cars. In the second Ferrari incident, it sort of launched and then went sideways into the fence.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't. Yeah, he was brave taking that much curb as well, though.
Is he the same one that said that picking soft was a bad idea, foreshadowing that he was about to crash? Because one of them I heard on the radio saying that they shouldn't have picked softs because when everyone was switching over, some of them I think regretted picking soft tires a bit early.
No, I don't think because Leclerc was not that long after they put the softs on.
Oh, okay, because I know there was a few that.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think that might have been earlier in the race, wouldn't it, when they went from the inters to.
They went into mediums to soft. There was a bunch of mediums.
I think someone went to softs though straight off the inters, didn't they?
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw that Ricardo was the first to get medium, obviously because he had a lot more time and he wasn't doing much at the back. And then he...
that as well, though. I was surprised how long they took before they actually tried someone on slicks. In years gone by, you would have had like a Jensen Button, say like after lap 3 going, let's roll the dice on this. Whereas they seemed to be
watching everybody. They were just watching each other of what they were going to change to.
But you didn't have anyone kind of, just rolling the dice. Like, Jensen Button was always a classic for it because 50% of the time he'd absolutely fuck up and end up nowhere. But then the other 50% of the time he'd be, a genius kind of thing. So,
is this only in the wet, or would he do this all the time?
In these kind of mixed conditions, he'd definitely be one of the ones to, really roll the dice early on when other people are going. Like, when Lewis Hamilton's going, no, it's too wet to put on slicks. And
I was about to say, Lewis Hamilton sounded a bit whingy when they asked him to... a bit... Just a bit complaining.
The car's undrivable.
Yeah.
George finished 4th.
I was gonna say, is George's car better than the #44s now? Or
it must be. They must have, different specs.
He seems like a very broken man now.
Yeah, and once again, they said something about going down the wrong setup path. And once again, well, see, the problem with these sprint weekends, you've only got FP1 on Friday, and then you go into Parc Fermé with qualifying. But if you'd qualified that badly, why wouldn't you? And you're like, right, well, we buggered up the setup. Why wouldn't you pull it out of Parc Fermé, change the setup, and start from pit lane? Take the penalty, and then in the sprint race, realistically, that car's still the 3rd best car out there. So if you're starting in 14th or whatever it was, you're gonna get past those first few guys anyway. So worst case scenario, you end up about where you were supposed to be anyway, but you've got a better setup for the race.
I'm going to guess, Dave, that someone suggested that to him and judging by the comments, he probably complained and said, "Don't touch my car."
And then when, well, they probably went, well, it's not really, we can't really change the setup to make it any better because it's as good as it's going to get. It's just that
and then he said something about my vegan shoes and walked away.
And people wanted him to take out his earrings.
Yeah. Ron, I also liked Nico Rosberg's comment because he did the crash talk, and essentially it was like, it happened, move on.
The only thing about Nico Rosberg, though, in the commentary, it's nearly like every time he comes on the camera or whatever, it's like, oh, by the way, I beat Hamilton to the 2016 championship.
Look, Dave, everyone's got their one thing. Let him have it. He seemed to be very. It's like Lewis is finished for now, and it's all Verstappen all the way. That's my new early call for the season. I'm going to be wrong next week. Hamilton finished, Verstappen all the way.
That's a tough one there. I don't think his ego will let him go out like this.
Oh, no, sure.
Yeah, I think he will hang on for at least another year, and then depending on how competitive Mercedes is next year, I don't think his ego will let him have a year like this and then retire.
Will he finish at Mercedes, or you reckon he'll jump onto another?
I think the ego will back him into a corner where he has to finish at Mercedes, because he's not going to do like Vettel would have been, $30 million a year or something at Ferrari, and then he's probably gone back to something substantially less to be at Aston Martin. It's probably still a ridiculous paycheck. But
I'd take the deal.
I'd do it for half the money.
I would do it for a quarter of it, Dave, and then they'd have to make me a special F1 car to fit in it.
I'll do 24%. I think Lewis would probably turn around and be like, I want $50 million to someone like Aston Martin, and they're like, probably we can't really afford that.
Well, AP Grand Prix says Hamilton will retire at the end of the year. I reckon he'll retire at the end of the year and just declare himself champion of F1.
It's all because he was robbed of the 2020 championship.
Dave, as I said to you before, it's Cord Racing. It's Cord Racing, Toto. Still my favourite line of last year.
Yeah, unfortunately. Apparently there was, I didn't see any of it, but apparently there was a lot of online complaints about the new, one of the new race directors already complaining about what had happened over the weekend. But the only thing, there seems to be a lot of complaint about the DRS not getting enabled earlier. And that seemed to be from people who weren't happy with Hamilton being stuck behind Gasly, wasn't it?
Oh, when he got stuck out of the pit, there was a Ocon and
in the DRS train.
Oh yes,
yeah, when he was stuck in that, and then they were saying like, "Oh, I would have thought DRS would have been enabled by now," and just kept going on and on and on about it. But then obviously once they finally got DRS enabled, he couldn't do anything because there was all the guys in front that had the same.
Well, he had the almost crash, the crash in the pit lane. Which so any of these been noted? Because the Dan Ricciardo crash wasn't marked as a sufficient incident.
Yeah, I think that was noted, or like they investigated it, but then it went on to nothing.
Yeah, I think they spoke to Nico Rosberg. He said, "Nah, it's all good. Carry on."
Which realistically, like turn one, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always going to be something on the first turn, and it was wet, and the visibility was. They were showing the dash cam. I couldn't see anything.
If you went back to like the mid-90s, guaranteed you would have had like 6 cars out on the first corner at something like that. You would have had guys going everywhere. Like, to only lose 1 car in a situation like that is,
a decent effort.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. So, and then the Ocon was penalised for that crashing into Hamilton in pit lane.
Yeah, he did take off pretty.
For the unsafe release or whatever, he got a 5-second penalty for it.
But, I forgot to check, but where did Bonvillain finish in all of this?
I'd imagine probably 17th because I've got Dan. Dan was 18th, and then you had the 2 non-finishers. So King Latifi would have been just in front of Dan, I'd imagine.
That goes to show how bad old Bonvillain is.
Where was Albon? Was like 11th or 12th or something, wasn't he?
I think he was about mid.
Does anyone watch his professionalism at work?
This is I have a question while you look that up, Dave. The list of tyres, besides Dan Ricciardo at the end, because they obviously had nothing to do.
Albon was 11th.
What's the hard tyre for in the wet?
Because they have to, under dry conditions, they have to run the 3 compounds, or they have to run 2 of the 3 compounds.
Oh,
so the tyres are there regardless of but then if it's a wet race, it goes away that having to run 2 of the different compounds.
Because the only ones I noticed were the intermediate, mediums, and obviously the soft.
Yeah,
and then they had.
The problem, say, with the hard is that it takes more to heat them up. So on a day like that, there's less chance of doing damage to the soft tyre. So you don't really need. You probably wouldn't get sufficient temperature into the hards anyway to run them.
Yeah, because the only person I noticed that had it at the end was Dan Ricciardo, and I imagine they were just, they thought of an idea.
They stuck mediums on him at first, though, didn't they?
He was the first to get mediums.
Yeah, and then I reckon they probably, if they did swap into hards at the end of the race, was probably just to see what happened.
Just to see him finish the race.
Well, because he was that... Actually, he wasn't that far down. He was only a lap down. But he wasn't going to score points, so chuck on the hards, see how they react. So you got a bit of data on them. Because that's part of the problem as well, because you get so limited testing, they don't know how the cars actually work on those. Especially like the hards, you don't use that often. But it depends.
So essentially, Dan became a test driver at the end of for the rest of the race.
Yeah. But it does means they learn something potentially for the next. Well, for moving forward. Graham's comment about Daimler selling 70%. So they have actually sold it, have they? Who'd they sell it to? And with Ron, I think also Mercedes, they were set up so well for the previous set of regs by Ross Brawn that there was always going to come a point where things changed, and because you kind of lost that setup that they had. So it was always something that could have possibly fallen apart. Especially when I can't remember his name, the guy who ended up going to Williams and fucked them up was in charge. But since they got, I can picture him as well. I can't think of the names, but since they got the guy back from Ferrari, they've probably been a little bit more confident. I'll think of their names about 3:00 in the morning. Then I'll let you all know.
You can let them all know in the comments.
Schumacher is, very surprising. It shows you that what results could Haas have got last year if they'd stuck with Grosjean and K-Mag. Because, Schumacher looked brilliant last year. That was it. Yeah, Paddy Lowe. He was a fucking disaster. Well, he was, and then he came in and he's like, "Oh, I designed the Mercedes. I did everything." And you're like, "No, you're just running on Ross Brawn's coattails." But anyway,
Sounds like a lot of whinging at Mercedes there, Dave. Is that all they do at Mercedes? Just whinge about stuff? I've seen their number one driver whinge, their race director whinge at the end of the season, and everyone else.
George is all right at the moment.
I like George. I
Yeah.
think George is what F1 needs. You need George. Lando Norris, I think, is also a good.
Alex Albon.
He's all right. And then
Come
obviously
on,
Ricardo.
you gotta love Alex Albon.
He's all right. And then obviously Ricardo, the king of the kids.
Stupidity, yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a comment before. He did. I did like that he went and apologized and went to the Ferrari. What is it? Tent or shed? Motorhome. I assume he's given them a bottle of his DR3 wine and a glass
wine.
Yeah, and the glass shoey that you can buy on the internet for $900.
Is that how much they are?
I think the actual glass shoey is about $900. I'm waiting for AliExpress do a cheap one, and I can put one up on a shelf made out of plastic.
At 900, you'd be too scared to use it.
Oh, you wouldn't be drinking out of it. You just it would just sit there. Oh
you
no!
Could probably buy one of his real boots for $1,100.
Okay, so it's not 900. Inflation's already kicked off.
He's got to pay for a new villa in Monaco or something.
Yeah. Oh, there's tension between. They don't look. They look like the honeymoon's over, and they're beginning just to resent each other. They had a good run.
Maybe he said, "How come I'm paying you $50 million a year, and this young bloke's just knocked you off? You told me Bottas was the second best driver that ever lived, and it was only your great skill that was beating him, and blah blah blah." It's a bit of Hamilton bashing today, isn't it?
What's wrong with that, Dave? No.
Is there any Hamilton fans watching? They're probably the ones that logged off.
They're too busy complaining.
Vander James Hum, yeah, Albon. I've got a little bit of a soft spot for young Albon. He's it was sad to see him get knocked out of Red Bull, but he's going all right. Maybe we'll put him in Mercedes next year.
You reckon he's moved to hashtag 44 is going to leave, and then
Albon.
Albon.
Yeah,
have the kids run Mercedes.
We'll start a social media campaign.
Kick
Albon
out
for Mercedes.
Would they run a what I've noticed, sort of a one more experienced driver and one younger driver like George? So if Hamilton did leave, would they replace him with another like more experienced?
That's a tough. Yeah, that was one of the things where they hung on to Bottas for so long. Like you backed yourself into a corner that you were relying on Hamilton so much, where they probably should have brought George on at least 1 or 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
So that you had someone there essentially learning off Hamilton to bring her up to speed. Because now you're at that point where if he does jump at the end of the year, then George has only got 1 year in the main team ready to go for him then to become the team leader, essentially.
Yeah.
And then, Max has just suggested Gasly there. Who do you pick?
Oh, it's Albon or Gasly, Dave. Which one do we start the social media campaign for?
Albon, because we like we love Gasly, but Albon is Albon's my man kind of thing. Oscar de Merck. They were really cautious to promote George So I wouldn't see them taking on a rookie, even one as good as. Although then Oscar could potentially win the Formula One championship in his rookie season, like what he does with everyone else. Now that
midfield team.
It depends. Like one of the cars a front runner at the moment, and one of the cars kind of back of the midfield. You know, the old bloke was really struggling last weekend.
I think Hamilton's converted his car to biofuel, Dave. So it runs slower,
Okay.
but it's better for the environment. And he's going to put little solar panels on the rear wing, just so
It's
he
like
can.
his private jet.
His private jet that runs on hopes and dreams and solar panels. I did actually notice that the main stand is covered in solar panels, and the guy giving out awards was like a eco sustainability person.
Yeah.
So I assume they're could this be them slowly moving to Formula E? Everyone knows Formula Excellent. You know, getting it more.
Yeah. The problem is Formula E's got the contract to be the electrical championship or whatever for like 50 years or something ridiculous.
That long.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you will see Formula One. I haven't fully read with the next lot of regs and that are coming out, but I think they're planning on going like a higher blend of, because at the moment they're running E10, I think it is. They'll probably go to a higher blend of ethanol or biofuel.
Here's my other crazy prediction, Dave.
Yeah.
Hamilton retires end of the year, becomes head of F1, and moves everyone to more biofuels. We'll be running on corn in about 10 years. Mark my words.
IndyCar was running on corn.
See,
Yeah.
I didn't even say it's the future, Dave. Hamilton will become some sort of F1 director of some sort, and he'll get revenge on Toto, and there'll be a lot of bickering in the 2023 season. One girl, one boy. That's not a bad idea. Are there enough female F1 drivers?
No, definitely not. Not enough. Yeah, just yeah. I actually haven't watched any of the W series, but from what there is a bit of a difference between the top girls and the back of the grid. So, yeah, there should be more females though. Director of Woke.
Yep. He will be. He'll tell you important things at the start of each race. Like every car is equal to 47,000 cows farting, and we should pay attention to the cars and jets that we fly around on.
This is I'd hate to be a Hamilton fan around here tonight. Yeah, I'm not sure if Scott McLaughlin's probably getting on a bit in age now as well. So that's a problem with some of these guys that it starts getting a bit. Although the way he's adapted to IndyCar, I mean, he could well do it. But yeah, I think if anyone makes a jump from IndyCar, it's probably going to be Herta.
What about the other way, Dave, of Dan to
IndyCar?
To IndyCar or a Supercars?
I can't see him coming to Supercars, but
he won't come home. He'll go to IndyCars.
I think he'd probably do more like a Kimi, and either give NASCAR or IndyCar or something like that a go. I could see him as, I think it's LA. He has a property already, so you could see him,
I can
up
see
in America full time.
Would he do any of those 24-hour races?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'll just get him on the line and hey Dan, Oh, no, direct. Hamilton would never go to IndyCar because he's scared of the ovals, which he has actually said. That's not a. He said he wouldn't want to do the ovals, and it would be interesting. But I think the cars are far too even for him now to bother. I think Hamilton would be one of those guys that finishes in F1 and you never see him again in a race car.
Oh, really?
I reckon he'll be one of those, kind of like Damon Hill. Just I've been at the top or whatever. That's it. I'm done. Walk away.
You reckon he'll commentate? Become a special comment?
I think he will disappear from Formula One totally,
and just go live in his eco village.
Yeah, and do fashion shows and write music and stuff like that.
Oh, write music. Now I'm intrigued, Dave. Tell me more.
If you want to listen to some good music, look up Jack Villeneuve's album.
I don't know if F1 drivers should be. Hamilton will do interviews in pit lane. I could see that.
I don't think he will.
You reckon that's too?
Alonso is like 50. Alonso the Lion will still be going at probably 50.
I would love to see Grant Denyer in an F1 car. He's everyone's favorite supercar weatherman, superstar combined.
You've just got to pass the drug test.
Look,
wait, did I say that out aloud?
Also, Dave, I have another F1 question.
Yeah.
The nose. I saw a list a while ago, but I can't find it anymore. They've got a list of all the parts they have for a season. Is the front nose considered a front part of, like, you're only allowed a certain amount?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think there's limited with the upgrades and stuff. I can't remember if that actually came in or whether that's a proposed.
So
little thing.
So things like the front wings and stuff don't have a limited amount.
Are you talking about like with the engines and that, where you can only have like three? Yeah, you can have as many front noses as you can afford.
Oh, okay, you can have as front, because I noticed a lot of them got broken and.
It's just the cost of them.
Oh, I imagine they cost more than my car and a small house deposit.
Yeah, there was like all sorts of like £100,000 and things like that. Figures that.
So more than my car. A lot more than my car. Just a bit more. Yeah. I drive a Mazda Speed Special Edition CX-3.
Nobody believes that. Does Matt know anything about F1? He's played F1 2018 on easy.
Yeah.
What else does he need to know?
No damage control, no nothing. I'm here to make Dave look a lot more smarter than he actually is.
Job done.
My work here is done.
Hamilton just needs some pizzazz. He just, I don't know, there's something that just rubs me up the wrong way with him on the radio and that all the time. I can't get behind him anymore.
He does seem very, like when he asked to not ask for tyres, he seemed like a small child that had been asked to pack his toys away.
Yeah. So, off the Hamilton bashing for a bit, have we got anything else to cover?
I have a quick question, Dave, about the tyres. So the hard tyres obviously last a lot longer.
Yeah.
And the soft ones are, much better grip, slower. Why would anyone be using a hard tyre for that race anyway? You're going to have to do more
well,
pits.
You would. No, you less pit stops.
Well, yeah, but you still have to do
last longer. Yeah, well, you have to do at least one stop, but you could like Albon it, Melbourne it, and just race the whole,
Yeah.
do the whole
Well, that
race
was
on the
risky,
hard, and
wasn't
then
it?
change on the last lap. F1 needs is like racing Mercedes the last few seasons, unless
Yeah,
you're
no,
Bottas.
I'm like everyone's Bottas. Just
Did you win when you played it on easy?
not always. I think that was back in the time when braking was optional, and I think I had to turn off a lot of the what are they called? Sensible controls, like like uh,
Yeah, no
wearing out
damage and no
the
tire wear.
yeah. I've played games where I've popped all the tires just to see how long they would last. Because
Just on Billy's comment here about the rainbow tires, please know when there was fucking like 8 different colours and the hyper mega
oh,
ultra softs and
that was the best. They had super soft,
it,
and then I think the softest was called Hamilton's, weren't they?
at least
I thought,
like now with the, I think it's 5 different compounds over the whole season, but at least it's simple to follow with a soft, medium, hard. Like even even someone who watched it every weekend, is the hyper mega soft better than the ultra hyper super soft or something? Yeah, it just yeah. Well, they should have just reset the names a bit, like somewhat medium, super soft.
you want some tires
Meg,
called somewhat
mega
soft,
hard. Yeah, somewhat
mega
soft,
hard.
mega hard, and things like that. Like, but they just went, oh, like we've got hard and medium, and then we got soft, so we need to make them all like, because the hard we're not changing, so we'll just make super soft and then ultra soft and mega hyper soft and whatever else
Hyper
there was.
soft, ultra soft, super soft,
Hmm.
medium hard, ultra hard. Ultra hard just
They
sounds like
didn't actually had ultra hard, did they? That was the filming tires, the special. But they never. I don't think they actually had an ultra hard for the race, did they? I could be wrong.
So wait, what about is that not including the wet tires?
Yeah. So then you've got the
Wet
intermediate and the monsoon, which
monsoon, which would have been the super
essentially the
wet.
monsoon, yeah, ultra hyper mega wet. Essentially, though, if they have to run around on the monsoon, it's too wet, so they have the safety car out. So there's
Yeah, they're the ones
yeah,
that actually have proper grip on the. You can see it on the tires. They have proper grip, like tread
they
and
look
stuff.
they look like a car tire.
Yeah, they look like actual tire. Super hard.
So
Yeah, that's.
there was a harder than hard one, was there?
Is there
It's
like
me
stat? Is there
me on a
stats on who
Friday
uses?
night.
I'm super
Just
soft
back on.
every other day.
I want to talk to Ron Smith about Grand Prix 2. That was an amazing computer. The amount of hours I wasted over my uni career playing Grand Prix 2 and Grand Prix 3. That was, oh, if I could have that time back.
Simpler times, Dave.
Yeah, where you could do like a full length Grand Prix weekend on the computer. So you'd be like, oh, Friday night I'll do free practice 1 and free practice 2 in like real time, and then Sunday night you do a full length Grand Prix.
Did you have the wheel set up then, Dave, or was that still keyboard?
No, that was full keyboard warrior. Yeah, tap 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 as you went around the corners
right.
and.
And did you use what is it, WSAD for gear changes or?
No, off memory, it was a weird, and you couldn't set the keys on a lot of things. So I think, just looking at the keyboard now, I think it was A and Z were accelerate and brake, and the triangle brackets on the full stop and comma, they were the turning, like your steering wheel. So it wasn't your normal like up arrow and stuff. And then I can't remember. shift up and shift down, I think, were like tab and shift or something like that. But,
Oh, yeah, because I think I had an old, was it Thrustmaster steering wheel?
Mm.
The cheap one. No gears. It was just
There's no feedback or anything. You just spin it around like 50 times.
the only feedback you'd hear in the game where it's like Matt has crashed, and then it would just have that red. Like, what was the game that had the red bar across it or something that just pretty much just said out, you're done.
Ooh, Van James Hunt.
I
Those games look amazing, but I just I don't have the time these days to do it properly. So might have to set up a Gran Turismo game or something when we move into the new place. But yeah,
might have to get PlayStation out.
Might have to get a PlayStation again. But IndyCar by Papyrus, that was another brilliant game. A lot of wasted hours on IndyCar 1 and 2, and the old. I think it was just NASCAR 1. That was. I'm pretty sure that was Papyrus as well. That was another. Lot of.
They've got new NASCAR now, don't they? There's a new.
NASCAR EA Sports took it over.
EA Sports take over everything, Dave.
Yeah, so like with the F1 games, you get a new NASCAR every year. But I think for the PlayStation 3, I had whatever NASCAR was out at that point.
Is it called
and
Rush?
It actually was a pretty good game. A what?
NASCAR Rush or something?
I think there's been a few different ones over the years, but I could be wrong, but I think it's like, NASCAR 2022.
Oh, so it's like all the other sports games.
Yeah, I think so. There we go. I haven't played new NASCAR games, but I heard it is terrible.
Thrustmaster T2 used a bungee cord. I think I remember that. I think I had one where you clip it onto the table, and then you had the floor pedal and brake, and you could race old 2-footed for extra stupidity. No,
well, that's the way the Formula 1 drivers do it. So,
Oh well, yeah, because you're not moving your foot. You're not going to. Was it Senna that used to try the heel toe in some of the videos? One of them did a ridiculous.
Back in the 80s and that they had to. So because they had proper clutches and didn't have semi-automatic gearboxes and things like that.
And back in the 80s, they didn't care. They just drove.
Well, they didn't have the technology in that. So yeah. That makes sense about the whole iRacing thing, Ron. If it's the old Papyrus people, because they were some very good games back in those days. I'm not sure if you fire them up now how they'd look on the screen. I know you see clips of like Gran Turismo 1, and you're just like, oh my god, how the hell did I play that? And I
think 4 looks good still. 4 looks all right because that was
Yeah, but that's getting pretty late on in the piece, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think they also got pretty good. Yeah, 1, 2, and 2 were very blocky. They look like Daytona,
especially when you look at them now. But I remember, like back in those days, mind blown. Like that, the first time I saw Gran Turismo 1, that was just
this
next
is the
level.
Future.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I've kept my PlayStation 3 and 4 is because I've got a Gran Turismo save on my PlayStation 3, and I can't copy it anywhere.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I've run out of space, and I've got it sitting somewhere. I'm going to have to look back at it. It's all on easy, so I can check out how good I really was at Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo didn't have easy settings, did it?
I think you could turn off. Oh, was that Gran Turismo or one of the other ones? Forza.
I was going to say, Gran Turismo didn't have damage in that because the manufacturers
Porsche
didn't want to see their cars crashed up and that. Yeah.
Porsche had a bit of a hissy fit and said we don't want to see our cars in a
Well, they didn't want to be in Gran Turismo for a long time either.
Yeah, because they had they used rough.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Forza Motorsport 4 is fantastic. I believe I have all of them still in a box somewhere, which will be unleashed onto the house in just over a month. And Dave and I can have live race streams if people want to see that. That's right. Gran Turismo 4 had 1080i. That's why it looks so good to this day. It's only interlaced, but it's still
yeah, well, compared to what you would have had before that,
nothing.
It would have been it would have been a big step up.
Yeah, that Outrun or Big Haul and Truckers. Some other classic games.
Just on Graham there, thank you very much for the donation there.
Graham.
And yeah, any suggestions are definitely welcome for the channel. Yeah, the thumbnail on that, I've just probably at the moment designed something that was pretty easy to change over each week quickly, because those thumbnails do actually take me a fair bit of time to do for the normal weekly videos. If anyone's really good at Photoshop or something and wants to lend a hand, yeah, I'm always up for a bit of a hand on those kind of things. And if anyone has any like contacts within the field and things like that, it would be quite good to get, you know, some other people on here where we can kind of ask them questions in real time. So
as opposed to this idiot who just likes to talk about video games and Tokyo drifting around courses.
I mean, in a way though, it's good getting someone who's like, I know at the Grand Prix, like I ended up, a few of the people from work were there who aren't really motorsport fans. They're more, you know, they're into cars or whatever, or general kind of sports fans. And it was quite interesting, the questions that they then were asking me over the, you know, while we were there. And some of the stuff you don't kind of think of. And it's kind of good having that, you know, that view of someone who's a little bit kind of asking
say the word, Dave.
Asking the dumb questions.
There we go.
Because there's some things that you're so used to it happening all the time or whatever that you know, you don't kind of register what's really going on, I suppose.
Yeah, I had that when I went to the cricket with some friends, and you it's second nature. Just quickly, AP Grand Prix, I think I get money when I get a prediction right. So Dave's money is quite safe.
Once we've paid off all the Supercars Talk loans, yeah, we'll work out some financial things.
You'll think about paying the apprentice.
I think we need to get some better live streaming cameras and things like that as well. So
that's true.
I think once we have the funds there might be some payments in equipment, which is about where all the money currently goes into equipment at the moment.
I think when I move to a better office, we'll have the content for me won't get any better, but you'll see it a lot clearer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we want to see this any clearer, but yeah, we might upgrade to the future of 1080p or something. Although I think this camera, look at that, the camera does actually.
I'm staying back here.
I was just reading the front of the camera. It does actually say 720p, believe it or not. I don't believe it going off this picture. Just on a side note, as we have been discussing, Matt is actually moving into a new house in about a month. And for those who actually care, they started digging my site on Tuesday. So the actual, whatever it's called, the big dig, that's basically finished on my block of land now. So hopefully we should have a slab down kind of by the end of next week, which is, making progress. So
will you have a new studio by the end of the season, Dave? Oh.
Fingers crossed, because I have been lied to before by the building company about when they were going to actually start this. But all things going to plan, we will be in for Christmas. So don't come any closer.
So maybe the final episode this season will be celebrated at your house.
Yeah, and we might actually, with a bit of room and stuff, we might actually be able to do it, live in the same room. That's it,
Ooh.
Ron. Excavation.
Ron knows all the big words. Thank you, Ron.
For years and years, you watch people like on game shows and things like that, and you're like, oh, what were they doing? Like, I could have got that answer right and stuff. And then even like I record videos and stuff, and you can, edit it and whatever. And if you forget something, you can start again and off you go. When you're doing these live streams, it's amazing the kind of facts that that just go flying out of your head. Like, who were the lead engineers or whatever at Mercedes for the last however long. I still can't remember his name. Has been back there since. Thank you to, I think it was Ron who told us in the comments that it was Paddy Lowe.
I feel like Ron knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
There's a new scale of F1 knowledge. It goes from Matt to Ron, and everyone else is in between.
This is why we need the comments here to fill in all the gaps that we miss.
Also, AP Grand Prix up at the Ron end.
There we go. So, who's the current main guy at Mercedes? The guy that come from Ferrari, who was originally at Renault or at Enstone. Excavation. You've got to do the slab after excavation. This weekend, this weekend Supercars, definitely Shane's going to romp it in. And we've got IndyCar this weekend as well. So, come on, Scotty.
So you're telling me, Dave, I should be watching IndyCars as well in my list of homework for the week?
Yeah. Have you got Stan Sport?
I do. We do, actually. We do have Stan Sport.
Go. So you can watch IndyCar. I'm not talking Andrew Shovelin's the race engineer. I'm talking about the main guy who took over Paddy Lowe's role. So there you go. Have we nearly covered everything?
I think. Oh, I've got another question, Dave. That you'll when you replace the tires in the F1, unless I misheard this, can you change settings in the car based on the new tire you get?
The only thing they can do is change the front wing angle.
Okay, because I think I heard one of the drivers complaining that his settings weren't changed properly for the new tire.
So, that was George Russell. I think something happened in the stop and they didn't end up changing the front wing. Because they usually, depending on, I know it's a big thing in IndyCar when they change, from the soft to the hard compound, and they will actually change the front wing angle to adjust for the extra grip on the soft tyres.
Russell was doing.
James Allison, that's the one. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you very much. And then, Bubby's confirmed it was Russell with the front wing. So, they would just, they'd probably wind a little bit of wing out of it, going from intermediates to, say, the soft tyre, because they'll have a bit more grip from the tyre. So they won't need as much frontal downforce.
Could that have fixed the F1 from their Ferrari from doing that Tokyo drift late in the race?
No, I think he was far too far over the curb to worry about how much wing was on the car.
Because he did fly up a fair bit. I saw the replay.
I think once they're in the air, it doesn't really matter how much wing's on the car.
Yeah. And then going sideways probably doesn't help either.
No. It was funny watching the Max and Perez and Norris watching the replay in that cool down room thing. And their faces when they saw him hit the curb.
Oh, like, oh yeah, that's right. They
Yeah, because he was a lot braver than anyone else, especially through that whatever that chicane thing's called. I forget.
Oh, we went through the name last week. I don't remember
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Corner 3. We'll give it a plain old name.
It was a long way after corner 3.
Corner
I
7.
think it's Variante Alta or something like that. There's my great
That one's got all the names, doesn't
Italian. Yeah, because it's one of the old school tracks. So speaking of new tracks, Miami up next.
Yeah. And does that have new corner names? Does that have?
I reckon that's probably just corner 1 and corner 2 and things like that.
They haven't got sponsored corners. Old FedEx Straight and whatever.
Knowing America, that's quite possible. But that's more of an Australian kind of thing, where we have like sponsored corners, especially Bathurst.
Yeah, well, that's I think. What's the Conrod Straight? Is the one I?
That's not actually a sponsorship thing,
but that's the only one I remember.
Like the Caltex Chase, even though it hasn't been sponsored by Caltex for about 30 years.
Well, the Vice City Corner.
What do we think of the circuit? To be honest, I haven't actually looked at the track that much for this one because it all happened so quickly. It was a bit of F1's going to go to Miami, and you're like, oh yeah,
we need somewhere to go.
15 years kind of thing. You know how these things usually go. Like Texas was talked about forever, and we'll go to New York, and that never happened. And then all of a sudden, it's just, we're going to Miami this year, and then next year, Las Vegas. You're like, geez.
Where would they race in New York? Is there?
It was across the river or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't actually. I think if you Google it, you probably find some track maps and that. Because Seb actually did some laps in a Red Bull at one point.
I was going to say. I remember Red Bull seemed to do all the promotional stuff.
Mm. Yeah, which is they do a lot of that off their own bat as well. It's not F1. The Hudson River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
and sorry to hear about your mate Scotty. Hopefully he's okay. Oh, you lost a mate. Ooh.
Oh shit! Oh,
that's really not good. That's
shit.
Yeah. Not good at all. And there was also someone died in the Targa Tasmania as well this week, which I didn't even realise was happening this week. But not a great week for all of that. And Caltex did definitely get good bang for their buck with that one because everyone still calls it the Caltex Chase, even though the whole Caltex brand has gone now as well. It's one of those ones that'll probably be the Caltex Chase forever. Cool.
So, when should we be doing Miami predictions, or we save that for next week?
We'll save that for next week when we're a bit closer to it.
I'll get my my wrong picks all ready for next week then.
Yeah. Keep tipping Hamilton.
I've said it. Hamilton done. He becomes the F1 solar manager.
So the Mercedes are going to find that magic bullet and turn the engine back up to party mode, and he'll dominate Miami.
They'll do that for George, and Hamilton will just he's done.
I think as soon as the car's back up and running, he'll.
How long do you think party mode takes how many more races before they're in proper?
I don't know. I think it looks like they've got a big problem with the porpoising.
Yeah, a lot of them have that, don't they?
Yeah, the Mercedes seems really bad. And they were saying, because the Ferrari does bounce a lot, but apparently as soon as the Ferrari hits the brakes, all the aero kind of reattaches and they're fine. Whereas apparently the Mercedes is still kind of oscillating when they hit the brakes, so that the downforce doesn't work properly on the car as it kind of enters the corner and that. So it's like the Ferrari, it's just a pain in the ass because your whole, your vision's bouncing as you go down the straight.
Well,
As soon as you come off the throttle, it levels out and it's fine. Whereas apparently Mercedes still keeps going, which is where they're having the trouble with it. Almost feeling sorry for Hamilton.
No one feels sorry for Hamilton. He's currently in a jet plane right now, Scotty, eating sustainably fished caviar. He's doing all right.
To be honest, though, I didn't like his whole attitude. Like when Seb was doing all the winning, he was turning around and going, "Oh, Seb's only winning because he's in the best car." And then when he's clearly got the best car, he's like, "Oh man, that was hard work." I would have preferred him to get out of the car and be like, "Yep, great job, we dominated," and walk away, kind of thing. Whereas now where he's struggling again, and it's every excuse under the sun, and as much as I don't know what he's like personally or whatever, but he just doesn't seem like a team player or anything. Whereas some of the other guys, like anyone who's as much as like Max seems like a fair dick. But everyone who you talk, or you see interviews with people who have been close to him or whatever, and they're like, "No, he's a really cool, down to earth guy," kind of thing. Like what a lot of people say about Seb and that, whereas you don't get the same kind of thing from Hamilton. But anyway, the floor is too large and unsupported without the side pods on the Mercedes. I think that's I think that's a big problem, that those not having any side pods on the car is causing some interesting problems with that. So, because even like the Ferrari's got those the wire things holding up the floor, so, and they've got the biggest side pods on the grid. So, let's give it about Hamilton.
So Scotty's not a Hamilton fan.
No,
we'll put that down as not a fan.
I think all the Hamilton fans left about an hour ago.
Do you think we need next week? We just do a Hamilton appreciation episode just to get your numbers up.
Maybe that's how we could get more people involved.
Should we do a new episode called Super Hamilton Variety Hour, where we just talk about solar panels and
get the whole English fan base jumping on? Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, Schumacher was.
But Schumacher was a champion, a proper champion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't easy to tweet that. Not a fan of the super fun Hamilton Variety Hour.
I was just thinking, Dave, I could get a face mask of Hamilton and you could pretend to talk to me. We could have an interview from my Echo Pod.
I'm over busy then as well.
So we need two video chats, one regular and then one secret Lewis Hamilton one for our 8 Lewis Hamilton fans. Obviously not. No. Who are we attacking next week? I'm always a fan of attacking James Bond villain.
Well, there's no F1 this weekend, so we might have to find someone to from the IndyCar field or Supercars or something to really get stuck into.
I mean, we can always attack my old favorite. Grosjean was my other favorite whipping boy of F1.
Hey, Grosjean, everyone loves him in IndyCar now.
Oh, is he cool now?
Yeah, although he still does some of the old Grosjean kind of. Yeah,
the old Grosjean cuts in and.
Yeah, the kind of rookie errors. As much as like, I feel sorry for him going through that fireball and everything in the house. It was his fault he was in that position.
I didn't actually see how he got to that point.
Well, he ended up. I think he just drove across the front of someone. I think it was
Oh.
Gasly. Yeah, he just like drove across the track like Gasly wasn't there. Like, real weird kind of move, and that's what spun him around and put him into the into the wall. Yeah, you just I don't know anyone else in the field, maybe Mazepin, that
Maybe,
would have
yep.
put themselves in a position like that. Lance Stroll, maybe. But
He
yeah,
would never risk
it's,
Daddy's money.
as much as like I don't Grosjean's fine. I don't either like or dislike him. Um,
But
I wish him all the well, but oh, it was Kvyat, was it? So I thought it was who did I say? Gasly.
Gasly,
So yeah, um, yeah,
cheeseburger.
yeah. I can't see anyone else getting them into the same position. It was a very like Grosjean thing to do
A
as a
Grosjean
gaining
move.
attraction. Yeah, yeah, that's it. They just put it into Grosjean mode and yeah, fire.
There's three modes: the right way, the wrong way, and the Grosjean way.
There we
It's
go.
it's it's just the
We've already
wrong way, but
started.
faster. First lap nutcase. That is correct.
And on that note,
I think we've hit
yeah,
our 1 hour
our,
allocated time limit.
our strict 1 hour limit.
Yep.
Yeah, on that, like, even when you go back to the 2012 stuff with Grosjean, where he got that one race ban and whatever, I think he was probably a little bit unfairly targeted in that year. Like, he was getting himself involved in a lot of incidents, but they weren't always his fault. He did find himself involved in them, though, which, you got to take a bit of the blame. But yeah, he did he's got like an attraction to incidents, whether they're his fault or not. He just seems to be able to get
He
himself involved in
he just
things.
happens to be there every time they happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a spatial awareness problem or anyway. On that note, we've been a bit nice to Hamilton for the last 5 minutes, so it's probably about time to sign off. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you
all.
same bat time, same bat place next week. Good evening.
See you all.